Hello everyone and welcome to this writing lesson. In academic writing, you normally need to support your ideas and opinions with facts, statistics, quotations, and similar kinds of information. There are different ways to use information from outside sources as supporting ideas. To use information in your writing from outside sources, you can either quote the information directly or indirectly. You can also paraphrase or summarize the information. Writing paraphrases and summaries are important tools in academic writing. They are also necessary in IELTS writing because you always need to paraphrase the topic in the introductory paragraph and provide a summary of all the main points in the concluding paragraph. Therefore, these are the two skills that you will need to practice in this unit. Paraphrasing is when you take an original idea, rewrite it to express the same meaning, but in a different way. This can be done by changing words, word forms, or sentence structures. If you think this is just for writing academic papers, think again. We paraphrase all the time. When you read a book, article, or watch a movie and tell your friends about it, you're paraphrasing. When you tell your friend or colleague about a conversation you had with your boss, you're paraphrasing. Of course, you're not repeating the original conversation word by word. You're just giving them the main idea of the conversation using your own words. Paraphrasing is especially important in IELTS writing task 2 because your introduction is basically a paraphrase of the essay prompt. You will need to rewrite the essay prompt in your own words to introduce your essay. There are 3 ways to do paraphrasing. Let's go over 3 techniques to paraphrase. Remember, when you learn these techniques, don't just use one of them to paraphrase. A good paraphrase includes all 3 techniques. So, the first technique is changing words and using synonyms. Synonyms are different words that express the same or similar meaning. For example, interesting, fascinating, curious, and amusing are all synonyms, but some synonyms can have a slightly different meaning. For example, fascinating has a stronger meaning than interesting, so be careful when using synonyms. You need to make sure that the words you're using convey the same level of meaning as the original. Using synonyms or different words with a similar meaning shows the reader that you know a wide range of vocabulary. Now, a look at this example. Many people think that cars should not be allowed in city centers. Let's try to paraphrase the sentence. First, let's see what synonyms we can use. Instead of many, we can say a lot of. Instead of think, we can say believe. Instead of cars, we can use motor vehicles. Instead of should not be allowed, we can say should be banned. And instead of city centers, we can replace it with urban areas. Now let's replace the synonyms and see what we can come up with as a paraphrase for this sentence. A lot of people believe that motor vehicles should be banned in urban areas. Let's look at another example. The reasons for increasing levels of pollution are the development of industry and air travel. Now here, instead of reasons, we can use causes. Instead of increasing, we can say rising. Let's skip over levels and pollution for now. I will tell you why later. Instead of development, we can say growth and expansion. Instead of and, we can use as well as. And instead of air travel, we can say traveling by air. So let's put it all together and see what we have. The causes of rising levels of pollution are the growth and expansion of industry, as well as the number of people traveling by air. Notice that the words levels of pollution and industry weren't changed. This is absolutely fine. Not all the words need to be changed. In fact, some words like pollution in this case are best not changed. This is because synonyms do not have exactly the same meaning and cannot always be used interchangeably. Some synonyms might even change the meaning and result in you going off topic. If you try to paraphrase too much, you might make mistakes which will result in a lower score. The second technique of paraphrasing is changing word forms. For example, changing a noun into a verb into a noun, or an adjective into a noun, or vice versa. Look at these examples. Many people find watching tennis interesting. Here, interesting is an adjective. To change the word form, you can change the adjective interesting to its noun, interest. So the paraphrase would be like this. Many people have an interest in watching tennis. Another example now. Some people think Facebook is an invasion of privacy. Invasion is a noun here. We can replace the noun form with the verb form. Has invaded. Remember that I said it is best to use a combination of techniques when paraphrasing. So apart from the change of form that we have had, I want to have a word change too. So I would be using a combination of techniques. Therefore, I am going to replace the word people with individuals and think with believe. Now look at the sentence. Some individuals believe Facebook has invaded our privacy. So far, we have reviewed two ways of paraphrasing sentences. Now let's look at a third technique of paraphrasing. The third technique of paraphrasing is changing the sentence structure. This could be done by 1. Changing the sentence from passive to active, or vice versa, or 2, changing the order of the clauses. Let's have a look. First, a look at an example of an active sentence being changed to a passive sentence. The hurricane destroyed the city, which becomes the city was destroyed by the hurricane. The subject in this sentence became the object in our paraphrased sentence, and the object here became the subject in this sentence. To form the passive voice, the verb destroyed was also changed into was destroyed, to be plus the past participle. Now, an example of a passive form being changed to an active form. The public transport system was developed by the city council. So this is the passive form, and the active form is the city council developed the public transport system. In this example, this whole thing is the subject, which becomes the object of this sentence. And this object becomes the subject. Order of clauses, as I said, is another way of changing the structure of the sentences. A clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb. Some sentences can be a single clause or an independent clause. Some sentences can be made up of 2 or more clauses, like a combination of independent and dependent clauses. For example, it is difficult to say whether the economy will improve. The 2 clauses here are it is difficult to say and whether the economy will improve. So to paraphrase this, you just need to change the order of these clauses. Whether the economy will improve, it is difficult to say. That was easy, wasn't it? Let's look at another example. During this summer, many people visit the temple. What do you think the paraphrased sentence could be? That's right. Many people visit the temple during the summer. As I said before, for IELTS writing, you need to paraphrase the topic to write your introduction paragraph. You learned 3 techniques of paraphrasing. And now, you know that you should use a combination of these techniques to write a good introduction. So try to practice them on your own. Up next, we have some exercises that will give you the needed practice. Keep in mind that the answers may vary. Pause your video, do the exercises, and then play your video again when you're done. Let's talk about how to paraphrase an essay prompt to write the introduction paragraph of our essay. In the IELTS Writing Task 2 essay, you should write your introduction by paraphrasing the essay prompt. In order to do this, you will need to break the essay prompt into parts. Look at this essay prompt. Nowadays, more and more foreign students are going to English-speaking countries to learn the international language, English. It is undoubtedly true that studying English in an English-speaking country is the best way, but it is not the only way to learn it. To what extent do you agree or disagree with the above statement? Usually, an essay prompt consists of 3 parts. A general statement that introduces the topic, a specific statement that gives you the specific idea about the topic, and finally, your instructions or the question. So this is our general statement. It tells us what the essay topic is. The second sentence is the specific statement. Now, this sentence gives an opinion about the topic. And this one is the question. To what extent do you agree or disagree with the above statement? This means you have to express your opinion on this second sentence, which is the specific opinion. So in order to write your introduction, you need to paraphrase the 3 parts of this essay prompt. Let's do it together. To paraphrase the first sentence, we can say, in recent times, a growing number of international students are learning English in English-speaking countries. And for the second sentence, we can say, although it is beneficial to learn English in a country where it is natively spoken, there are other effective ways to learn it. Now, all we need to do is just to answer our question, and we are done. The question is, to what extent do you agree or disagree with the above statements? To answer this question, we can simply say, I agree with this statement to a large degree. But to make this sound more natural, you should probably fit your opinion into the second sentence. Like this. Although it is beneficial to learn English in a country where it is natively spoken, I strongly believe there are other effective ways to learn it as well. Now that you know how to paraphrase and write an introduction paragraph, let's do some more practice. I am going to give you some prompts, and I want you to write an introduction by paraphrasing these prompts using the techniques you learned. I've done the first one for you with 3 examples as possible answers. Read the examples carefully and then do the rest yourself. Remember, the best way to paraphrase is to use a combination of the three techniques: synonyms, word forms, and sentence structure. Please pause your video and then check the possible answers by playing the video again. Now that you know how to write an introduction paragraph, let's concentrate on summarizing and writing concluding paragraphs. Summarizing is when you briefly state the main points of a text. This could be when you provide a summary of an outside source in order to support your main ideas in the body paragraphs of your essay, or when you remind the reader of the main points discussed in your essay in the concluding paragraph. In this section, we're going to discuss the latter in more detail. The conclusion paragraph should restate your thesis, summarize the key supporting ideas you discussed throughout the work, and offer your final impression on the central idea. To write an effective conclusion, follow these steps. Paraphrase the thesis statement from your introduction. Summarize the key points mentioned in your body paragraphs. Give your final comment on the topic. Let's look at a sample essay. While you read the text, notice how the essay prompt is paraphrased in the introduction, how it is paraphrased again in the conclusion, how the key points of the essay are summarized in the conclusion, and how the writer's final comment is expressed at the end of the concluding paragraph.